You've felt it, haven't you? That prickling on your neck when you're alone online. The sense that something, or someone, is watching through the screen. Tonight's story? It proves you're right. And if you listen too closely, you might hear it breathing back. Welcome to Eerie Short and Scary Stories, where the shadows aren't just in your mind. We hunt the darkest corners of the web, so you don't have to. But be warned, some stories don't stay on the screen. It started like any other night. Just me, the glow of my laptop, and that quiet hum of the house settling around me. You know how it is, one click leads to another, and suddenly you're 10 pages deep into some forum you've never heard of. That's when I saw it. A single line of text, no explanation, no context. Just a hyperlink in faded blue letters, Colwin's Corner. I almost didn't click it. There was something about the way it sat there, untouched for who knows how long, that made my finger hover over the mouse. But curiosity always wins, doesn't it? The page loaded slowly, like it was fighting against the modern internet. And then, there it was. A website straight out of the past, all jagged edges and pixelated shadows. The background was black, the text a sickly green. And at the top, a single, grainy photo of a man. His eyes were the worst part. Not because they were frightening, though they were, but because they looked back at me. Like he knew I was there. Like he'd been waiting. The homepage had sound. A low, looping static, and beneath it, whispers. Not words, not quite. Just breaths, slow and uneven, like someone was standing too close to a microphone. I turned my volume down, but it didn't matter. The sound didn't come from my speakers. It came from behind me. I spun around. Nothing there. Just my room, my chair, the door slightly ajar like always. But the air felt thicker. Colder. And the longer I stared at that photo, the more I swore his expression changed. His mouth, slack at first, now curled at the edges. Not a smile. A warning. I should have closed the tab. I should have shut the laptop and walked away. But I didn't. I clicked the next page. And that's when the real horror began. I kept clicking. What else could I do? Each page loaded slower than the last, like the website itself was resisting me. The journal entries. God, the journal entries. They weren't just words on a screen. They were screams trapped in digital form. Colwin wrote about waking up to something standing at the foot of his bed. Not a shadow. Not a trick of the light. Something that knew his name. He called it the Observer. It's not just in the screen anymore, he wrote. It's in the room with me. My fingers froze over the keyboard. The air in my own room suddenly felt too still. Too heavy. Then I found the gallery tab. The first image was blurry. Just shapes in the dark. I hit refresh. The same photo, but clearer now. A figure in the corner. Another refresh. Closer this time. Its face pressed against what looked like glass. My breath caught in my throat. I refreshed again. Empty room. Empty, except for the chair I was sitting in. My chair. In the photo. A knock at my door nearly sent me through the roof. Just the wind, I told myself. Just the damn wind. But when I looked back at the screen, there was a new folder. My username, spelled out in that same sickly green text. Inside? A single image file. I wish I hadn't opened it. My bedroom. My bed. My blanket still crumpled from when I'd gotten up hours ago. And there, in the corner of the frame, barely visible in the gloom, something standing where nothing should be. Something watching the empty bed. Waiting. The website didn't need me to hit refresh anymore. The images were changing on their own now. And whatever was in them was getting closer. My hands shook as I slammed the laptop shut. The screen went black for half a second before flickering back to life. Colwin's Corner stared back at me, completely unaffected. I mashed the power button. Nothing. The escape key. Nothing. I was trapped in some digital nightmare where the rules didn't apply anymore. Then the speakers exploded with noise. Not just static, something worse. Something organized. Beneath the crackling white noise, a voice whispered my name. Not shouted. Not screamed. Whispered, like someone was standing right behind me, their lips almost touching my ear. I spun around so fast I nearly fell out of my chair. The room was empty. But the whispering continued, now coming from both the laptop and somewhere else. Somewhere in the dark corners of my bedroom that the lamplight didn't quite reach. That's when I saw the tiny green light. The webcam had turned on by itself. On screen, my own terrified face stared back at me. And behind me, just visible in the grainy feed, something moved. Something that shouldn't have been there. A shape, tall and wrong, standing so close I could almost feel its breath on my neck. I didn't think. I grabbed the power cord and yanked it from the wall. The sudden silence was almost worse than the noise. My own ragged breathing sounded deafening in the dark room. It took me 5 full minutes to work up the courage to plug the laptop back in. 5 minutes of sitting there in the dark, jumping at every creak of the house, every rustle of the trees outside my window. When I finally turned it on, I prayed to a God I wasn't sure I believed in that it would be over. The browser opened automatically. No homepage. No error message. Just Colwin's Corner, already loaded, waiting for me. The journal entry at the top was new. Just 3 words, written in that same jagged font. Hello. And below that, a single sentence that turned my blood to ice. You shouldn't have looked behind you. The words on the screen burned themselves into my vision. You brought him through. At first, the meaning didn't register. My mind wouldn't process what that could possibly mean. Then the walls started breathing. Not literally breathing, not like some monster's lungs. But, expanding. Contracting. Like the entire house had become a living thing. The knocking started slow at first, 3 measured raps against the bedroom wall behind me. Then faster. Harder. Until it wasn't knocking anymore. It was pounding. Something wanted out. Something that had been waiting a long, long time. The lights chose that moment to die. Not a power outage. Not a blown fuse. They dimmed first, the bulbs straining like they were being drained of energy. Then they began strobing, flashing on and off in erratic bursts that made the shadows leap and twist across the walls. In those brief moments of illumination, I saw things moving in the corners of the room. Shapes that had no business being there. Shapes that didn't move right. The mirror above my dresser caught my eye. Or rather, what was in the mirror did. At first I thought it was just a trick of the flickering light, my own reflection distorted by fear and exhaustion. But then it smiled. And I wasn't smiling. Colwin's face stared back at me from where my reflection should have been. Not a photograph. Not a digital image. Him. His hollow eyes bored into mine with an intelligence that made my knees weak. His mouth moved, forming words I couldn't hear over the blood roaring in my ears. The glass began to ripple like water, his fingers pressing against the surface from the other side. I ran. No thoughts. No plan. Pure animal instinct took over. I didn't grab my phone. Didn't grab my keys. Just threw open the door and sprinted into the night, not caring that I was barefoot, not caring about anything except putting distance between me and whatever had just come through that mirror. The motel room was supposed to be safe. Cheap, anonymous, the kind of place you pay for in cash. I'd locked the door. Put the chain on. Even pushed the dresser in front of it like some terrified character in a bad horror movie. The TV was off when I collapsed onto the bed. I know it was off. The static crackle made my heart stop. The screen flickered to life, showing nothing but blackness at first. Then the image resolved, sharp and clear. My apartment. My desk. My chair. And sitting in it, facing away from the camera, a figure typing slowly at my computer. As I watched, frozen in horror, the figure's head began to turn. Slowly. Deliberately. The screen went black before I could see its face. The words, "Thank you for watching," appeared in that same sickly green text I'd come to know so well. Then those two faded away, leaving only my own wide-eyed reflection in the darkened screen. I realized 2 things then. First, I'd left my laptop running when I fled. Second, the webcam had still been active. Whatever was in my apartment hadn't just been showing itself to me through the motel TV. It had been watching me watch it. I smashed the laptop the next morning. Took it out back behind the motel and beat it to pieces with a rock until nothing remained but twisted metal and shattered glass. The hard drive snapped between my fingers like a dry twig. I scattered the fragments across 3 different dumpsters, just to be sure. For a few hours, I actually believed it was over. The sun came up. People walked past my motel room door, laughing about normal things. The world kept turning like nothing had happened. I started to think maybe I'd imagined it all. Maybe the stress of work, the lack of sleep, maybe I'd just snapped for a little while. Then my phone buzzed. It was Sarah, an old college friend I hadn't spoken to in months. The message read, "Dude, you gotta see this creepy site I found. Total lost internet weirdness. It's called Colwin's Corner." My fingers went numb. The phone slipped from my hand and hit the carpet with a dull thud. I didn't want to look. I didn't need to look. I already knew what I'd see. But like an idiot, like someone who hadn't learned a damn thing, I picked up the phone and opened the attachment. The photo loaded slowly. Sarah's living room. Sarah sitting on her couch with her laptop, grinning at the camera like she'd found some funny meme. And behind her, barely visible in the darkened hallway leading to her bedroom. Me. Or something wearing my face. It stood perfectly still, one hand resting against the doorframe. Its eyes were too wide. Its smile was all wrong. The angle of its head wasn't natural, like it had been waiting just out of sight until the exact moment the photo was taken. Sarah sent another message. Weird, right? The pictures keep changing when you refresh. This one just popped up. Who's that guy behind me? Kinda looks like you, lol. I tried to call her. No answer. Tried again. Straight to voicemail. When I finally got through on the third attempt, all I heard was static, and beneath it, the same whispering voice that had said my name through my laptop speakers the night before. The website wasn't just haunting me anymore. It was spreading. And whatever had come through that mirror, whatever was wearing my face and standing in Sarah's hallway, it was learning. Getting better at pretending to be human. I should have warned her. Should have told her to get out of the house immediately. But as I opened my mouth to speak, the call disconnected. My phone screen flickered. The wallpaper changed to a photo I'd never seen before, Sarah's empty living room, taken from the perspective of someone standing in that dark hallway. And in the reflection of her TV screen, barely visible but unmistakable. Something was crouching behind her couch. Something that hadn't been there when she took the original picture. Something that was there now. I don't sleep much these days. When I do, I dream of endless corridors lined with mirrors, and in every one, that thing wearing my face gets a little closer to stepping out. The doctors say it's stress. The pills they give me don't stop the whispers. Sarah stopped answering my calls 3 days ago. Yesterday, her Instagram updated with a new photo. She's standing in her kitchen, smiling at the camera. Behind her, barely visible in the glass of the microwave door, you can see someone standing in the doorway. The face is blurred. The hands are too long. I tried to warn people. Posted about Colwin's Corner on every forum I could find. The threads get deleted within hours. Sometimes minutes. Once, I got a private message from a username I didn't recognize. Just 2 words, stop looking. When I clicked the profile, it showed the account had been created the same day I first visited that cursed website. The worst part? I think it's learning from me. Last night, my phone recorded a voice memo while I slept. 47 minutes of quiet breathing. Then my own voice, saying words I never spoke, almost time to come through. I keep my curtains drawn now. The mirrors are all covered. But sometimes, when the streetlights hit the TV screen just right, I can see shapes moving in the reflection. They don't move like people. They move like things that have studied people. Like things that are almost ready to stop watching. The website still loads every time I try to search for help. Same green text. Same hollow eyes staring out from that grainy photo. Only now, there's a new section at the bottom of the page. A live feed. And in it, a figure sits at a desk in a dark room, typing slowly. You'd think I'd have smashed every device I own by now. You'd be right. But it doesn't matter. The feed still plays on library computers. On strangers' phones in coffee shops. On the display models in electronics stores. Always the same dark room. Always that same hunched silhouette. I think it's waiting for something. For someone new to click that link. For fresh eyes to find Colwin's Corner. Maybe that's why I'm recording this. Maybe some part of me wants you to see it too. Or maybe it's not me making these choices anymore. Check your screen. Is the reflection blinking when you don't? Do the shadows in your room stay still when you move? Have you noticed any new bookmarks in your browser lately? Colwin's Corner is waiting. And whatever's on the other side? It's learned how to knock. Well, that's my story. At least, the parts one can still talk about without my hands shaking too much to speak. I don't know what happens next. Maybe nothing. Maybe everything. Maybe you'll wake up tomorrow and find this was all just some creepy story you watched online. Or maybe you'll notice something strange when you shut down your computer tonight. That extra second before the screen goes completely black. That faint reflection that looks just a little off. Maybe you'll start seeing Colwin's Corner pop up in your search history when you know damn well you never typed those words. If that happens, don't message me. Don't try to warn anyone. It's already too late by then. Just do me one favor, keep watching. Keep listening. Because the more eyes we have on this thing, the longer it takes for whatever's on the other side to, well, you'll see. This is Eerie Short and Scary Stories signing off. For now. If you want to hear more tales from the darker corners of the web, you know what to do. And if your devices start acting strange tonight? Let's just say, I told you so. Oh, and one last thing before I go? Look behind you. Just kidding. Or am I?